So thank you, Jim, again for coming on my
No problem.
little podcast. I really appreciate it. I love your podcast, and which
Thank
is
you.
what we're going to explain, which is the brilliant Jim Daly is a comedian, TV presenter, and co-host of the Blank podcast. He has also co-written the book even, Blank, Why It's Fine to Falter, Fail, and How to Pick Yourself Up Again with his co-host, Giles Paley-Phillips. So I have to ask, what does blank mean to you, and how do you describe having a blank moment?
Oh, good question. First of all, we should have called the book Blook. We should have done that. That would have been a much better name. Combine all the elements into one. Damn, that would have been good. Yeah. If we do a second book, I'm gonna put that forward as a suggestion.
Fantastic.
Blook.
I'm glad. My little input.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Blank moments. To be honest, when we started doing the podcast, it was very much sort of creative blank moments. We're both creative people, so it was literally, I think we were talking about sort of blank moments where you're staring at the screen and you got a blank, Word document, or you're writing down, you got a blank page, and you're trying to make something creative happen, and you're struggling, because that was, as Giles is a writer and I'm a comedian, like that was things we were both struggling with at the time. So that, I think that's what I understood a blank moment to be 2.5 years ago. But it's interesting doing the podcast that's really evolved, because we've had people come on from various industries and creative industries and say, actually, I think my blank moments have been, personal, or my blank moments have been mental health related, or my blank moments have been, something different. So it's very interesting that actually it's quite an interpretive term, I think, blank. And actually, some people have most have been negative, as I think any of us would. But it's funny, we had Susie Dent come on quite early on, and she said, I see blank moments or blankness as a positive thing, because it's like a clean slate and a chance to do something new. And that was like we were both like, whoa, oh wow, that has completely opened up the podcast to us. Yes, of course it can be a positive thing as well. So yeah, doing this podcast has really, I think, helped me expand what a blank moment is, which I think is helpful, I think, for a creative person.
Yeah, I listen to anything that Susie Dent says, and it's gospel, yeah. Total gospel.
I'd vote for her. She ran for office, I'd vote for her in a heartbeat.
Exactly, and obviously she uses a lot of blanks in Countdown, so of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, it's meant to be. And so, okay, in terms of your own sort of experiences, so what do you think you've learned from failure? Like, do you feel like you're more prepared, for example?
I would love to say yes, but I'm very much someone that catastrophizes in the moment. So yeah, I think it's pretty common, isn't it? But I don't know. Yeah, I choose to believe. Yeah, we must do. Like, in terms of, especially if you're someone that's still going forward and doing what you're trying to do in terms of your dream or whatever, and you're still doing it, be it full time or part time, you must have learned from those failures, even if you didn't realize at the time, and even if they felt like crushing and embarrassing, you know what I mean, and just like the end of the world. And the fact that you're still here however long afterwards means that you must have learned from it. So yeah, I guess so. But I'm sort of someone that gets really overwhelmed, I think, when things are going wrong, and so it's very hard for me, get very clouded, and it's hard to see in those moments clarity, or even look back sometimes, be like, oh, I learned that. Because I look back and I just see like a big mess. I think, oh, I was just a mess. Like, literally this week I've been, we've postponed this interview because I've not been very well this week, and I genuinely think it's been because I did these 2 live shows in Brighton last week, and I was so stressed about them, I just crashed afterwards. And my body afterwards are just like, right, shut down, need a week off. And it was just, yeah. And so actually the shows went well. I mean, there's no sort of failure that I can think of attached to them. Like the second show, I was hoping for a bit more bigger audience in, but it was fine. All things I can learn from. But yeah, my body was just like, right, you are done, mate. Yeah, week off in bed. I'm gonna make your throat hurt. I'm gonna make your head hurt. I'm gonna make your chest hurt. I'm gonna make everything hurt. I'm gonna make you realize you need to slow down. But yeah, I don't know. I think overall, I do choose to try and believe that we do learn from failure, but I find it hard. And I find it hard to pinpoint those lessons. They are happening by osmosis, I think, but I'm a warrior, so I get really obsessed in those moments. So I find it hard to really look back and be like, I learned that or I learned that, but I must be at some point.
And actually, well, congratulations for doing those shows, actually, because given everything that's happened, that's a flipping miracle. So well done. Well done. It's the start of something again, it will come back again. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, with obviously being a comedian, I don't even know how you do it. Honestly, I am petrified of public speaking, so I hate it. And so in the book, like this is mentioned, which is we often feel this need to respond to public failure by punishing ourselves publicly because of overwhelming feelings of guilt. Now, so how do you deal with public failure and not taking it personally?
Oh man, what a question. It's really hard not to, isn't it? Like, especially if you're doing something that's like comedy, then it kind of is personal. If they're not like laughing at your jokes, and it's like it is personal, kind of weirdly. I mean, there's lots of elements that go into a live performance that I've learned from doing stand-up. It's not always just your jokes are bad. It could be that the audience are not warmed up properly, or the room is not set up for comedy, or there's interference. The first show, I did 2 shows last week. The first show was stupidly booked over the knockout games for the Euros, which as a big football fan, you think I'd I'd forgotten about them when I booked them, and I was so desperate to do comedy. I didn't realize it was over the Hungary, Germany, and the Portugal, France games. And so above me in the room, there were 40 Hungarians watching their game against Germany. And my show kicked off the exact same time, 8 p.m. And 10 minutes in, Hungary scored. And so, honestly, the noise, I had to stop the show and just be like, wow, Hungary scored. And then it went on for like 5 minutes. So I just talk about Hungary for a bit, or be like, I'm really pleased for them. Good for them. Good for them. And it felt like they were going to join us for the second half of the show because it was stamping so much. It was just, it was really, I was such an idiot. No, thankfully, second show, it was a day off from the Euros. But anyway, lots of elements go into a live show. If you're going to do a live show, don't book it over the same day of the Euros where 40 Hungarians are going to be in the room above you. That'd be my advice. So anyway, public failure. I am very much someone that gets really embarrassed quickly. I probably turn red. I don't know, maybe I don't. I feel like I turn red. I probably don't, because I'd imagine I've had gigs where I feel like it's going really badly, and then afterwards no one's really mentioned it. So I think, okay, maybe it didn't really go as badly as I thought. But I'm definitely someone that feels it, like I internalize it, and I feel embarrassed and I feel hot. But I've learned through doing stand-up to just kind of pretend not to. Like it's all fake it till you make it. Just like pretend confidence and pretend to be chatty and friendly. And I think I am, but like I then up it by 20% when I'm on stage. So I had a gig a few weeks ago in Western-super-Mare. It was my first sort of live gig back since pandemic, really. And I was the lineup was really good, and I was emceeing, which was a big job. And I was terrified. I was really like nervous first. What the audience can be like first gig back. And so I just tried 50% more when I got on stage. And in the end, I knew within a minute, it was going to be fine because they were lovely. I told an opening joke, they liked it, and everything sort of settled. But I think you do just. It's almost like preemptive public failure. This is the cold. Preemptive. I sort of think. Sorry, I'm struggling. My body's telling me stop doing work. Sorry, I'm getting sort of blocked in my nose. It was I think I sometimes think if it's going to be a bad night, I just try extra hard and just try to pretend it's not happening. And also, audiences don't see stuff in the way you see it. So you might be feeling embarrassed and think, that joke didn't land, didn't get many jokes, didn't get any laughs, or this audience aren't feeling me. And actually, they're seeing it completely differently. They're seeing someone on stage trying really hard, being entertaining, trying to be friendly, and they're having a nice time, even if they're not like laughing the whole time. So it's again, it's that internalized failure that you think you're doing badly, and actually often, and I think we say this in the book, often it's nowhere near as bad as people think. But if you're an overthinker or a creative or anyone like that who gets overwhelmed and overthinks things, it's hard to stop yourself thinking that. You think you've done awful. This has been rubbish. And actually the reality is it's probably gone fine.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask that. Exactly why? Why is it that we do this to ourselves? Like, just completely kill ourselves when we think that basically we're making a much bigger deal of our own failings. And as you say, actually most people don't even notice it. And so, it's like, why do we do this to ourselves?
I don't know. I wonder that as well. Like, is it because we care about this thing so much, that we care about what we're doing so much that we want it to be good? We're really passionate about it. So we want it. That's what I feel with my stand-up. Like I have ridiculously high standards for someone that is a very average, and I use that in a positive word, comedian. Like I rarely have bad gigs and I rarely have amazing gigs. I'm like a 7 out of 10 each time. I think I'm quite sort of a reliable comedian, but I want to be really, really good. I think sometimes that can get in the way of just having a good time and being okay. And it's okay to be okay. It's okay to be sort of average and to just like crack on and be fine. I'm thinking about doing a whole show at some point about being fine, like this concept of just like fine, like don't knock it, like it's actually okay to be just like fine
Yeah.
at stuff.
It's very
um
English, isn't it?
it's very English, yeah, totally. Like we sort of weirdly, I think as Brits, like play ourselves up, we sort of like build ourselves up and put ourselves down at the same time. You know
Totally.
what I mean? We
Totally.
try really hard to do things, but also we think, well, I'm rubbish. Don't like what I'm doing. I'm rubbish. Like, but also love me, but also don't like what I'm doing too much. Like, it's just we got this weird internalized sort of
Passive aggressiveness with ourselves.
massive. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, passive aggressive to ourselves. It's so true. It's so true. And I don't. Yeah, we probably would all be a lot sort of happier and less stressed if we didn't do that. But I think it's probably something that's ingrained in us. I don't think it's something you can. I don't know how you get rid of it. A lot of therapy and counselling, probably. I think at some point. I've been going through counselling for the last couple of years, and a lot of my sessions before my show were talking about the show actually. So it's and I actually had a session 2 days before my first show, and it did really help me just level out a little bit and just have a bit of perspective. Like, why are you so stressed? It's going to be okay. And in the end, that show actually went quite well. But yeah, we beat ourselves up, don't we? I think it's because we care. I think it's because we just care and we want to do well. And that's again, that's not a bad thing. Like, yes, we can manage it better, maybe. It's not a bad thing to be passionate about something and care and want to do well.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. But would you say then failure is linked to perfectionism?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I totally think it is. I'm trying better with sort of content and I hate that word content, but you know what I mean, like social content and comedy stuff and performing to be sort of happier with what I'm doing. Having a baby 2 years ago was obviously forced me to be like that because you just don't have any time. Like, it turns out they're very time demanding babies.
Funny that.
They need a lot of help, like, you know, walking and eating and stuff. Like, it's so selfish. But yeah, so actually then you don't have much time, so you just have to sort of like bash out content if you want to do something, or if you're writing stand up, just like you got half an hour, do something. And then if you do a gig that night, just try it. Like, so it puts you more into a corner of just like seeing what happens. And I think that's actually a healthier way to do things, because if you're sort of fussing and stressing over every little minute of whatever you're doing, I mean, some people can look at some of the people that have been big on social media, like they are. Look at someone like Alistair Beckett King. The guy's an absolute genius, and the stuff he does is industry standard. But I don't know. He probably hasn't got a kid. He's probably got time to do that, you know. But I know other comedians who have got 2 or 3 kids, and they're still putting stuff out. And you know, I think they're doing just as well. So you know, it's yeah. I do think perfectionism is. There's a phrase, isn't there? Perfectionism is the. Oh man, I told you, having a kid, my mind has completely just gone to mush. What is it? Perfectionism is the opposite of happiness or something. That's not what it is, but it's
something like that, isn't it? Yeah. No, and I can see why, because God, it can really drive you into like mad. Just constantly being like, I need to compare myself to someone else all the time. It's just ridiculous. And actually, I feel like imposter syndrome definitely kind of ties into this. So, you know, for me, this is something I really struggle with. So how do you pretend to be like confident?
It's a good question. I don't know. I do it. I can do it in front of people better than I can do it on my own. I can't really do it on my own, to be honest, because I know myself. I know when I'm faking it, and I know like when I'm just pretending. In front of people, it's so much easier. You just sort of, you just, you know, puff your chest out. You do a nice big smile. You make your eyes nice and wide, and you chat, and you know you do, and you ask people questions. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hello. I've got very expressionful eyebrows, and I think that helps.
You do very much so.
Going. Yeah,
the well shaped.
Yeah, they are. Well, thank you. I do nothing to them whatsoever. But yeah, they're sort of like a right angle almost, aren't they?
They really are.
Yeah, they're actually. Do you know what? I've never really looked at them before. They're quite impressive eyebrows. You. Oh, can you do both? You can do the eyes.
I can do both. And do you know why I can do both? Do you remember the Cadbury's advert with the little kids doing the balloon, like one eyebrow and the other eyebrow? Vaguely, and they had the 80s music, and I taught myself how to do the 2 eyebrows.
I'm impressed. Can you do that thing with the tongue? Can you do the curl tongue thing?
Ah, yes. So
I can't do that either.
Yeah. See,
I
the
can't do that
things
either.
I taught myself as a kid, the important skills of life, you know.
Yes, but I was gutted as a kid that I couldn't do those. Like in my school, if you couldn't do the rolling tongue thing, you were like, an idiot. You were cast out of school. So,
Ouch.
and I can't do the. Well, that's Catholic school for you, and I can't do the eyebrow thing either.
Oh, they were harsh, weren't they? They did not like rolled tongues.
No, they did not. No. Oh no. Did that at mass. You'd be kicked out. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, how do you pretend to be confident? I don't. I think it's all. I guess it's linked to imposter syndrome. It's all perception. Like the way people perceive you is never the way you perceive yourself, and often that's intentional, and often it's not. I intentionally put out a vibe of like friendly, confident, happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and like it weirdly sort of like works, and that's how people think I am, and I am like that. But obviously, I have a lot of times on my own and at home with my family, and I can be quite difficult to live with sometimes. Where I'm not, I'm really down, and I'm really sort of quiet and moody, and because I'm worried about my work, and is it good and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's very much a public persona, but it is me. But then we said this on the pod a few times. I have various versions of myself. There is a happy Jim. There is a moody, sad Jim. There's a wistful Jim. I feel like there's a difference of like chocolate bars or something. There's a comedy Jim. There's a sad Jim. But I think, yeah, I do feel like various different people. But the one I work on publicly is Happy Jim.
Oh.
But I think no, he is certainly way more prevalent. Definitely. I'm feeling a lot more balanced about stuff. But that comes from work going better and feeling happy with what I'm doing, and it's all intertwined for me. My happiness really comes from my creativity rather than work, because work is transient when you're doing creative stuff. Like it comes and it goes. But creatively, I've really got into TikTok recently, which I know is like not something a 37-year-old man should ever be saying
Whoa. I
publicly.
have no idea about TikTok. I was like, do you just dance on it? I don't know.
No, well, it's exactly what I thought until about 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, when I realized actually it's really good for like short comedy sketches. So I've been putting bits on there through the Euros and stuff. It's been really fun because I've been able to just scratch that creative itch, even if it's literally a 10-second video each day. I come in here, film with my green screen, edit for half an hour, done. And then I feel like that's me ticking my box, being like, okay, I've been creative today. Yes, it's been a tiny video that 10 people are going to see, but I've done something. And that always makes me feel better. Always. And it makes me feel more energized to do something else.
I watched one of yours and I was just like, that's actually really good. I was like, this is so clever. I was just like, because I have no idea what I would do on TikTok. Honestly, I just be like, hello.
I think you could do anything. Like there's I'm learning more about it. Like, but there's people that do like there's trends, so you can jump on trends and goes. I'm not so into them because it's more like you're sort of everyone copies each other basically, and like there's a trend and they all do their own version of it, and that's fine. That's fine. And some people make it really funny, so like, good on you. But I prefer to do my own stuff, like my own sort of try to do original. That's what I'm looking for. But I think you can do anything. I think if you went on there and just chatted about your day or chatted about your, you know what I mean. I think there's always an audience for stuff. You know what I mean? I've felt like that with my YouTube channel and stuff for a long time. There's always an audience for whatever you want to do. It's just finding them. It's just getting out to them. But you won't know until you do it, until you put stuff out there. And it's really, there was a thing recently, a study from Instagram saying we're going to get rid of all the likes and views numbers and stuff, wasn't there? All the metrics. And I actually think that would be really good, because I feel like we all measure ourselves against like, I've got these, I didn't get 1,000, I didn't get this. It doesn't matter. If you put it out there and someone sees it, even if you get one comment, you've made that one person smile in that moment, and that's more powerful than 100,000 likes. So I just think, I've been doing YouTube for 10 years, and I've been doing online podcasts and all sorts of stuff for ages, and numbers don't matter. It's just putting it out there. So even if you just like said, this is what I did today or whatever, or I just made the perfect cup of tea. Here's how you make a great cup of tea. Actually, that would probably work because like tea content is massive actually online. But yeah, just do it.
Jim, you took the words out of my mouth, because literally the thing I was going to ask you was like, how do we stop social media from making us feel like failures? Like when you only ever see like, oh, how wonderful someone's holiday is, or, look at how my 6 figures are going and blah, blah, blah. And so, how do you stop that, like just making you feel like?
I don't know, because I would be lying if I said to you that I come on here and I ignore it and it's all fine and it water off dust back. It's not. The thing that gets me is I like to. This is gonna sound weirdly creepy, and it doesn't mean to, but like on Instagram, I like to look at people's homes, like in the background of their homes. I'm like, oh, they've got a nice sofa. Oh, I love what they've done with the
Oh my
wall.
God.
I get really jealous of like internal.
It's that age thing.
I think
Real
it's an age thing.
estate. It
Yeah,
totally is. I'm
yeah,
always looking at Rightmove and how, oh,
yeah.
this is a nice house.
Oh, say, well, we've got this house. We've settled where we are now, and it's we're doing sort of building works and stuff in it, but the house we're in, it's quite dated, so everything needs updating. So I look around other people's, even just like my mates' photos and stuff on WhatsApp, and I'm like, oh, I love what they've done with their kitchen. It's so good. And I look at my kitchen, and I go, oh, it's so 70s. I hate it. But you know, it's yeah. So I can't. I'd be lying if I said that I'm sort of totally cool with everything online. I don't compare myself. I do with everything. Anytime I see someone doing a gig that I don't have, half of me is like, oh, good on you, and half of me is like, oh, I want that gig so badly. And so it's just it's hard. And if I see someone's video doing really well and mine's not, I think, how have they got loads of views? But actually, TikTok actually has been quite good for that in the last couple of weeks, and it literally has been in the last couple of weeks because there are so many crap videos on there that do well, like so many genuinely really bad ones where someone just used someone else's audio, done it really badly, and got
Odd.
millions of views. But that makes me feel more better, because it makes you think, do you know what? There's no rhyme, there's no rhythm, there's no rhyme or reason. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that what you've done that's good is going to get loads of views or isn't. Because if really crap stuff can get loads of views, then it doesn't matter. So just like be happy with what you've done and put it out there and see what happens. But yeah, it's hard. It's so hard to not let social media, make you feel rubbish. I don't know if it's because we are just inherently self-conscious beings, and we just compare ourselves the whole time, and social media then amplifies that and it shoves it in your face.
Oh God,
Or
yeah.
maybe it does it on purpose. I mean, I am not a conspiracy theorist in the slightest, and I'm not really a skeptic, but I if someone argued, oh, social media companies do this on purpose to put stuff on you to make you feel anxious about stuff, I probably would struggle to find an argument against it. So I don't know. I think it's
There's
probably
a
set up to make
little
us feel
bit.
bad. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
little bit of truth in that, especially, because they're advertising, you buy things off them, it kind of wants you to do that. And I think it's attention economy, isn't it? So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so
Do
definitely.
you buy stuff? Do you buy stuff off Instagram?
Hell no. Hell no. I was just like,
Oh God,
do you buy
I
your
do.
stuff?
The worst thing about Instagram advertising, it bloody works, mate.
Oh
Because I
my
keep
God.
buying stuff off there.
What have you
Honestly,
bought?
it's just like tracksuit bottoms and like hoodies and like stuff to like live around the house. But I'll show you. I've got a folder on my phone. It's my screen grab folder. This is so like capitalist. And it's just like screen grabs of stuff that I want to buy, just like hoodies and jackets and like, and I rarely sort of actually buy them, but I like to look through it sometimes. Like, oh, I'd look good in that. And then if I'm having like a bad week or I've done well with work, I might treat myself. But that's just like, I put that on Twitter, and my mate Jack was like, "Capitalist much?" I was like, "Oh God, yeah, actually,
Oh,
yeah."
yikes.
Or consumerist. Like, yeah, it's a bit actually. But yeah, clearly the algorithm knows me.
Oh geez, they know
I
you
know they know
well.
me too well. eBay is the other one. eBay, I've been, yeah, football, because
Yeah.
the Euros are happening. I've bought so many football shirts off eBay.
They
But
do good deals. They do
they
good
do.
deals.
But like
Yeah.
I've been using these for TikTok, so technically I can write it off against tax, which I avoid doing because I write everything off against tax. But Italian 2000 shirt. These are cool shirts, but it's just like
Yes, totally.
I've got a Wales one, but yeah, it's yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm absolutely just a sucker for online marketing. However, I got any money left, I don't know. Well, we're going to not be able to afford this work on a house because I'll have bought like 400 Italian jerseys.
Well, then
Can't live in those.
you can use eBay then to sell them off as vintage.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Worn by Jim Daly.
I think that would decrease the value. I seem to be very good at buying off eBay, but not so good at selling off eBay.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a skill, actually. I don't know.
Selling sucks. It's hard,
Hard,
Like,
and then you get.
so
I did
hard.
sell one. I sold one England shirt during the Euros. It was a training shirt from 2018 World Cup. It was really nice. I had these like diamond red and blue things here, but because of lockdown and having a baby, I've put on so much weight that I've like gone up 2 sizes. And I was like, I was a skinny kid for like most of my 20s, and I've suddenly just now nothing fits. These are all like larges and stuff, and so this England shirt, was like, I'll wear it during the Euros. And then I put it on and it was too embarrassing. I just couldn't. I could see all my rolls, like my man boobs. I was like, oh no. So I sold it on eBay and I didn't know what I was doing. So I just like followed what I think is normal. And it sold for quite a lot of money because it was timing, because it was during the Euros. Everyone was desperate for an England shirt. That's the only
Smart.
reason it sold. But even then when it sold, I got like 10 quid less than what I sold it for because of all the fees that came out. They don't tell you about all the selling
Thank you.
fees.
Oh my god, I had this
such a
week. Oh my
scam.
god, total scam.
Yeah.
I was tweeting at eBay going, what the hell?
I know, it's a complete scam. It is.
Yeah. So I'm
not good.
totally in the same boat with you on that, because I was like,
Is there anyone like
no.
that's actually got is there anyone that's actually like got a shop on eBay and selling? Like, fair play to you, because you're clearly like paying a lot in fees. So if you're managing to make that work as a small business, then like absolutely crack on, because I couldn't do that.
No, it's a lot of work, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
Now, actually, changing gear, because I actually wanted to hear this side. This was like the very poignant a part of the book, which was about grief, actually. And I was just hearing about your own sort of idea of sort of loss. And do you think like there's also a sense of failure when we lose something in our lives?
Oh yeah, I think so, massively. I think that's kind of first emotion, isn't it, that you go to, that I think you feel like you've failed. But I mean, in reality, there's so many different factors around anything that happens in life, and it's very rarely one person's doing or one thing. I think I talk in the book about sort of losing a job and how it affected me, and it put me in counselling for about 2 years. Like it's a pretty big sort of thing in my life. But looking back, it wasn't. And I hope this comes across in the book. Like it, I really hope that what comes across in the book is that I'm not like slacking off the company. I definitely won't ever work there again, I don't think. But they've gone from strength to strength as it happened since I left, so fair play to them. It was more me trying to reflect on like what I've learned and like how I sort of dealt with the situation. And looking back, it was a multitude of factors. It wasn't just what I did. But yeah, I felt very at fault massively, and I felt like I'd screwed up this massive opportunity and I'd done all these things wrong, and I kept remembering all the moments that had gone wrong on the show. Couple on live on TV that really made I felt like were huge errors. Again, looking back, they weren't that big really, but yeah, I massively felt like I'd failed. But I don't know if it's an age thing, but I think the older you get, you just realise that actually there are so many reasons that things happen in life, and it's very rarely your fault. And also, once it's happened, it's happened. There's not much you can do about it apart from process it. And I really believe that processing is important. Like, take some time out when something's happened to just like, don't dive into the next thing. Whether you've lost a job or a person or whatever, like you need that time to grieve, and you need that time to like process. Your brain is doing a million things at once, and it's totally cool to take a week, a month, 6 months, whatever off to be like, I need to work through this, because then you can come back as a different person. But I think if you, maybe not a different person, but you then have the chance to really sort of move on. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's so important. Give yourself time. I don't think we do that with anything in our lives, really. I think we're all such fast-paced people, especially when I was living in London, especially like moving out here has been a little bit more sort of, a bit more sort of breath in the lungs. But I think we all just are obsessed with working and what's the next thing and cracking on. But you need time. Time is so important and can really be the difference between you having a bit of balance and feeling okay or feeling overwhelmed. But again, I've learned that through getting it wrong and through growing up, and that's just the sort of the way it is, really. But if you're able to look back and reflect on that and recognize it, then I think that's progress.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right, it is a bereavement of sorts, so it is to have the same reaction is completely justified. But another scary aspect is being a parent, which obviously is like, oh my god, there's something I really worry about, like failing. And so how do you stop sort of the spiraling thoughts when you think you're not being a good parent?
Oh, I don't know, because I'm still trying to work that out. I'm still trying to. I mean, I said this to someone recently. Like, I said it in my show actually, but like, I think you are, because the show is about sort of fear and that is a bit about failure and that sort of worrying about being a good parent and person, and football. There's a lot of football in it, and I think if you are a parent and you're day to day and your kid is eating and sleeping, then you are a good parent. By the virtue of the fact that you are doing it, then you are. Like, and I think there's a lot of judgment that goes into parenting that I've learned, and there's a lot of again, high standards that you put on yourselves. But actually, if your kid is happy and plays and eats and smiles, even if they watch TV all day long, and we've had days like that. In fact, yesterday was one of those days. That's okay. Don't. It's very easy to put pressure on yourself, I think, with that kind of thing. But yeah, I think, I mean, in terms of parent failures, we do them every day. She fell on her head last week, or sort of
Ouch.
side of her head on her arm, because I sort of looked up at the TV really quickly, and she fell off the bed, head over her heels, I guess, and had hurt her, fell on her wrist. I was slightly worried that she's 21 months now, slightly worried that she might have broken her wrist. But it wasn't swelling or anything. I texted my wife, and then she came home, and it looked okay. But then later on at night, my daughter Maria, she's a pickle at night and doesn't go to sleep that easily, and she was going, "Oh, my wrist, ow, ow, ow!" And I had to work out: does it really hurt, or are you using it as an excuse not to sleep? And I wasn't quite sure. And then she woke up the next day, and it's fine, and she was like putting pressure on it and stuff. I was like, oh, "Okay, I think it's okay." I spoke to my friend who's a PT, and he was like, "Yeah, it would have swollen, I think." So, but anyway, and she's fine now. But that was a parent failure. But that was like a split second. It's literally a split
Yeah,
second, and that's all it takes sometimes. So
exactly.
it's just, they will happen. Those things will happen. And again, it's more like, again, with all life in general, it's how you react to it. Okay, so next time I'm going to make sure that I don't even look at the TV. I'm just going to watch her. You know, but again, it's hard. You're distracted. Your
It
phone is
is.
there. Like there's things to do, or quickly go and do the hoovering or whatever. And before you know it, she's climbing everywhere now. She climbs up onto a high chair and demands food, even though she's just had lunch. And she can like
Oh,
strap herself in. Yeah, she's
oh
very demanding.
wow.
She runs the house massively. So yeah, you just try not to beat yourself up too much and crack on.
She's
And
already a teenager. My God.
she is a tiny teenager, 100%. And she can, she cites, she now knows who she wants to read bedtime stories, and it invariably is mum and not dad. Um, and so the other day I sort of went in for a cuddle. I said, "Maria, can I have a hug, please?" And she took her dummy out, pointed to the door, and went, "Go,
Ouch.
go."
So mean.
And I thought, wow, that really cut deep. Really cut deep. Out is another one. Out, go. I was like, I can't even get a cuddle. Can I go? So yeah,
Wow.
she's learning a lot of words. Not all of them good. Um,
Starting young. Starting
yeah,
young.
she's hit terrible twos, and it's not even two yet. But, she's a joy though. She's so funny. But yeah, it's a real sort of like, parenting is a real, just like, it brings you down to earth every day. There's a something brings you down to earth every day, and reminds you that you're not all that, and you're just a tiny cog in this big machine of parenting. But I think that's healthy. I think I don't think
Yeah.
that's too bad. I can see her right now out of my window, and she's getting grandma. She's walking down. She should be walking down there. No, she's gone past the shed. Grandma can't see her, but
Is she
honestly,
okay?
yeah, she's fine. She just wanders around and sort of stomps around and just does her own thing, really. Um, but yeah, it is an interesting journey.
Yeah, I could see. It sounds like it. All in one household as well.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess parenting's a bit like mentoring in many aspects, isn't it? So I was just wondering, because there is a whole sort of chapter on sort of education and mentors. So what do you think your mentors taught you, like about failing?
Oh, that's really interesting, because writing the book, I had to really sit down and think about who my mentors were, because I think they were sort of, a lot of them were mentors maybe without realizing, or mentors that I didn't realize about until I looked back. I think my dad is a big mentor for me, and never really, wasn't something I asked him to do. It was just by the way he behaved and treated us and mum, and where he worked. Dad was a very hardworking, head down, never complained about anything sort of guy. Second generation Irish Catholic, so I think maybe
Oh,
something that was just what you do at that age. I'm a bit more sort of open about things are going wrong, and mental health and feelings and stuff. So I think that probably, growing up, gave me a sort of an interpretation of failure as something you don't talk about, um,
mm,
which obviously I've changed now. I think it probably is something that you talk about, because you don't know who is listening,
mm,
and who can help from it. But Dad taught me so many other things. Dad taught me sort of unwavering compassion that I didn't really, as a teenager, like, oh, my dad's so boring as a child accountant, so boring. Ugh. Steve's dad's so much cooler. Yeah. And then you look back and you think, oh my God, my dad was amazing. He just like loved me unconditionally and was always there at any football match or whatever, and just actually really showed me what it is to be a good, solid, dependable dad. But again, age takes you, to do those things. I'm trying to think of any other mentors I've had. There's been sort of people that have popped in. I've had a very sort of, I think, transient life where I've had groups of friends and teachers and people like that have popped into my life at the right point, helped me. There's one guy called Mark Joyce, who was my tutor at A level at West Kent College doing media studies, and then actually weirdly followed me to university, not in a creepy way, but just like ended up at my university the same year in Southampton on my course. And he was fantastic. He kind of was a mentor in a way in terms of my sort of creativity and going into media. Incredibly what's the word I'm looking for? Supportive. Made me realise I'm really good at this stuff. I'd spent 2 years doing my A levels at Oxford County and really failing and struggling, and have a lot of people being like, "You don't," including teachers, "You don't know what you're doing. Like, why are you wasting our time?" kind of thing. And this guy comes along and he was like, "You're really creative. Concentrate on this, and you'll flourish." And I got an A in my media studies. I mean, it's only media studies, but still an A. I went to university and flourished, and like really found this path into, at the time it was journalism, but it's ended up being into comedy and creativity. So looking back, he was a massive influence and a big mentor, but I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize. But looking back, yeah, he was someone that definitely sort of shaped how I saw myself, and also I think he showed me how supportive and compassionate you can be to someone that you're not related to or close to. You can be, even if it is someone you're talking to on a podcast like now, or someone who messages you on Twitter or something. Like, you have these opportunities, I think, to show people what it's like to show compassion. For me, compassion is a big component about life and working life and creativity. And if you can show that to people, then I think it's never a bad thing. I forgot what the question was.
Sorry. Oh, no, exactly. I wonder where this Mr. Joyce is now. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
So if you're out there, no, I'm joking.
Yeah, Joycey, we used to call him Joycey. He was a good guy. Looked a bit like Where's Wally. Had the same glasses and haircut.
Amazing.
So hopefully he's traveling. Like Where's Wally is finding himself, out and about in the world. But yeah, he was Mark Joyce. I should track him down actually. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice. Maybe for your podcast. You never know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Actually, wanted to ask, because I think this is like, I think everyone's failing at this massively, which is, you mentioned it's really important to switch off your brain. So how do you actually switch off now?
Oh my word. I mean, I don't very well, to be honest, because I'm always thinking about what I should be doing work-wise, oh, I've got to do that video, or I've got to do that stand-up bit or whatever. So no, I find it really hard to literally switch off and do nothing. But rubbish TV tends to be a thing. My wife and I will watch RuPaul's Drag Race is one of the things that we that is a good switch off, actually, because you have to concentrate on that, because there's a lot of drama happening in every episode. And there's always a drag race on. There's All Star 6 on at the moment, and then I think there was New Zealand New Zealand Drag Race. UK Series 2 is coming back. So if you want to switch off, watch Drag Race, because it's always a good way. You have to concentrate. But for TV in general, I think it's a good. Yeah, so we'll sit down in the evening and watch TV, and that's quite a good way for us to switch off. And it's never like documentaries or anything like. I quite would enjoy crime documentaries, but I never have the energy for it. So it's normally just like rubbish sitcoms and stuff like that. But and reading, I'm trying to get back into reading, because my daughter has now moved out. She was in our room for ages. She's now finally got her own room. I had to clear that out. It was the office where we did the podcast. So that's cleared out. She's now in there. Thankfully, it's taken to it very well, because apparently like they can kick off big time if they're in a new room. So it means that my wife and I now have our bedroom back, so we can, instead of the bedroom routine being creeping up, try not to wake the baby, now we can go up and like read before bed or talk about our day like normal couples. So I'm trying to read a bit more. I'm reading a book at the moment called Standing on the Edge of the Volcano. I think it's a book about, it's really nerdy. It's a book about football managers and behind the scenes of football managers. I'm sorry if anyone's not into football. It's so nerdy. I'm really enjoying it, because I'm so obsessed with football. I love anything sort of peeking behind the curtain and like the goings on of the football world. So
I thought it was about geology. Sorry. Yeah.
Exactly. We all have our thing. We all have our thing that that we're nerdy about, and that's totally cool. So yeah, I think trying to read a bit more and just sort of take yourself it's just trying to like clear that mind a bit and just switch it all off so that you're not. You don't have to think about work all the time. Like it's good to be creative and wanting to do these things, but you don't have to. And like if you stop for the day and come back tomorrow, it's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? It's 24 hours. You're not gonna nothing's gonna be impacted that way. But if you then switch on a really, really good book or watch Drag Race or watch a documentary, whatever you want to do, you'll relax. You might learn something, and I think you'll just be able to reset a little bit. And I always feel good reading books. I feel it's a bit embarrassing. I feel really quite smug when I read a book. Like, I'm reading a book. Am I better than everyone? I think I'm better than everyone. But it genuinely fills me with joy. So reading. I don't do it enough, but in fact tonight I'm going to try and crack on with that book again. Tonight,
Yeah, awesome, and hopefully catch some of the matches that are going to come on for the Euros.
Oh my word! They're back today. Yeah, I'd forgotten.
I think they are.
It is. It's back. Yeah, it's quarterfinals, isn't it?
Big ones.
I'd actually quite enjoyed the 2 days off, to be honest, because it's quite relentless. But yeah, football's back on. Yeah. So won't be reading tonight. Sorry, I'll be watching Italy, Belgium. I don't know who's playing.
Is it Italy, Belgium? Not Spain yet. No. It'd be
Switzerland, Spain.
Yeah, I think that would be the next one. I mean, if Italy wins, obviously tonight, it'd be Italy, Spain for sure. Yeah.
Good game.
It will be a good game.
It's been a good Euros. Have you been watching it? I really enjoyed it.
Been amazing. I've loved I was really shocked with the France-Switzerland match. Couldn't believe it. Yeah.
I know.
I was like, Mbappe, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's a bad game. Actually, when he stepped up, I nearly texted to my friends Mbappe to miss because he'd had a whole game where he'd missed everything. And then I didn't, and he missed. I was like, I knew it. Now I look like sort of like after the event, like I'm trying to claim victory. I found it a really enjoyable. I don't know if it's because we obviously had the horrendous Ericsson thing in the second game.
Oh, God, yeah.
And obviously, thankfully, the best case scenario happened, and he was able to even apparently he watched the last 10 minutes apparently, and so I know he's been fitted with like a pacemaker and stuff, and I don't know if he's going to play football again, but obviously he's alive and doing okay. I wonder if that just recalibrated everyone's perspective of football for the tournament, and everyone was just like, this means nothing, let's just enjoy it, because there's just been a real enjoyment vibe, hasn't there, to the whole tournament? And it's just been really
the Scotland-England match, it was just, I was in Scotland at the time when it was happening, and I was just like, whoa, this is so epic. And obviously I wasn't saying anything about the fact that I was English, but in the pub, but it was just such an amazing atmosphere, and I was like, wow, this is great, and we've just never seen it. I was like, yes,
I know. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah,
I think so too. Fingers crossed. Next few matches to see if it's coming home. You never know.
Yeah, if there's ever a tournament that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Think? Oh, God,
yeah.
I hope so.
Well, I'm half Irish, half English, so I generally tend to lean towards the Irish more internationally, mainly because they're worse. I don't know why. I'm just like sort of
underdog.
I like an underdog. But with England, I tend not to get sucked into it too much in terms of my club football. I support Crystal Palace, and I get way more sucked into that. But with England, it's quite nice. I found a real balance where I want them to do well. And if they don't, I'm not too cut up. But if they do, I'm genuinely really happy for England fans and for the country. I think it's good for everyone if they do well and everyone's in a good mood. And I'm happy for the team. Gareth Southgate actually is a friend of a friend, weirdly.
No way.
My team. Yeah, and apparently he's the nicest guy. So I'd be really happy for him. Yeah, he's very genuine. And he's brought back a real
gentleman,
sensible, gentle vibe to the team, I think. And he's really made everything just right, taken away the pressure, made people realize what's important about playing for England. And he's a real gentleman. I think when he was talking after the Germany game about the miss in '96, and he said, I still think about it and I can't apologize to the guys, but what we've done tonight might go somewhere. And I was tearing up. I was like,
I know. I was like, and then he saw David Seaman in the in the stands, and I was like, oh man, that's like pulls on your heartstrings.
It really does. But he's a good orator, so I think he's able to sort of translate. It's not something footballers can do very often, I think, unfortunately. But he's very good at, I think, translating those emotions. So you can only imagine what his team talks are like. I bet they're epic. I bet they're there's not a dry eye in this changing room.
Stirring, I would say. Stirring. Yeah, absolutely. Oh God, can't wait to see the rest of it. See what the finals will be like. But
what happens. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Again, Jim, massive thanks for
Thank you.
ranting and raving with me. I really appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. And again, I'm going to make sure I spread the word across the social media platforms and stuff. But also just, amazing book. And also, and I think I'm speaking to Giles in a few weeks anyways. So
fantastic. Yeah. He'll be good. He's a Palace fan as well and England fan. So I'm sure, who knows? Maybe you were talking to him before or after England won the Euros.
Oh, interesting. And actually, just wanted to say, my best mate is the biggest Palace fan. Like,
really?
Oh my God, die hard. She's there at every stand. Yes, every game. So you might see her there if you want.
What's her name?
Her name's Lucy Judson. She has the same spot every season.
Oh, Lucy, what a legend. Absolute legend.
So, I know all about Palace. Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, thanks a lot, Jim, and get well soon, obviously. And I hope everything's well. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
At home. Yeah.
Thank you.